Third area is to engineer your business, and right at the top there it says get the business to break even or better. That is a very lofty task when you have got declining sales of 30 to 70%, but you can do it. And if your EBITDA, if your cash flow or your cash contribution before you pay rent is negative, it's better to remain closed. So if you don't have any PPP money, it's better to remain closed until those sales can turn around. Because if you're losing money before you pay the rent and then you have to pay the rent on top, that's just compounded. So the first area that I would focus on is product. And if you notice these four little panels here, during the 2008 recession, there was a whole talk of certain companies that were going to be, going dead. And the ones that were smart figured out that if you work on these four areas, you can turn around your company. And if you watch any of these kind of, restaurant rescue or bar rescue or anything, they always do the same thing. Same thing. First, they work on the product. Then they work on the service. Then they work on the facility. The last piece that I wish that they would work on would be the systems, because that's what McDonald's did when they worked their way out of a turnaround earlier in the 2000s. They really focused on their systems. But around product, you want to make sure that you're engineering your menu to maximize gross margin, then percentage. The trap is to go after and try to get a cheap food cost or a cheap alcohol cost. What you need now is margin. So you want to maximize your gross margin dollars. Sell things you make money on. So if you sell a $30 steak and you make $15, or you sell a $15 pasta and you make $13.50, you're going to want to take the 15 bucks. We're in that spot right now where we really need to be taking margin over percentage, because that will offset on the labor side. So consolidate all of your products into a minimum number of products. Make sure you've got great crush utilization, because you really need to keep your inventory to a minimum. This is not a time for you to build inventory, it's a time for you to sell inventory. So we'll talk a little bit later about using the checkbook, but keep your inventory to a minimum. And make sure that everything you have offers value on the product side, because you want anybody that purchases your products, you want them to come back. And right now, people have to fill value because we've seen a tremendous switch into grocery shopping. So we've lost a lot of market share to grocery stores. So we have to make sure that whatever you offer as a restaurant, we already know it's going to be more expensive than the grocery store. They just don't have to do the work when they take it home or they have it delivered. So make sure that you're offering value with any kind of product that you set forward. Second area there is under service. So flawlessly execute the service model. If you've got anybody coming to your restaurant, flawlessly execute that and hold your third-party delivery platform to flawless service model as well. So watch your Yelps, watch anything that has a review, and hold people accountable around a flawlessly executed service model. Create experiences with every interaction. That is, if you have outdoor dining, make sure it is the best outdoor dining that it can be and it reflects your brand. The last area under service is speed of execution. It's never been more important to give the guest the opportunity to have their experience in their hands by being fast. So pace the guest. If they are ordering online or they're ordering takeaway, make sure they can get it very quickly. And I know that's a challenge because all the orders typically come in at once, but you've got to be able to kick those orders out. You can't have somebody call for an order and say it'll be ready in an hour and a half, which is what we saw a lot when we first went into this whole thing. So building speed is of utmost importance. So make sure that if you need to staff a little heavier to get product out, that you do that. Under facilities, one of the challenges that we have is that it's not particularly nice here on any given day through the fall, the winter, or the spring. So you have to be prepared to have 3-season outdoor dining. So some kind of cover, and the governor's mandate is only 2 walls. So you have to be conscious of that when you set up your 3-season dining area, that there can only be 2 walls. So unless he makes changes to that, you're going to have to leave a little bit of space between the building and some walls. So you have to kind of offset that. Make sure that you're maximizing your kitchen and your dining room utilization. Since we've had to close half the dining room, and in some cases more than that, many businesses have decided to begin to infringe on that space, rearrange it, infringe upon that space, and give it a little more kitchen utilization so that they can build more takeout business, or make the takeout business or the delivery business a little more effective by cornering off areas of the restaurant that were otherwise used when the dining room was full. So using your facility to the maximum to maximize sales is key. Consider air purification. This will be a big request, I think, in the future. I think it's a great marketing area, but it's expensive. So really looking for good air purification. The industry is getting kind of a bad rap that, dining in restaurants, potentially spreading COVID or at least coronavirus. So you want to make sure you have nice, clean air and you're moving that air through that facility. Temperature scanning is another thing. So one of the complexities with temperature scanning is what do you do with the prep people when they come in before the managers? We've seen a couple of times where prep is coming in early in the morning. They perhaps have 2 different jobs and they've been affected and they spread the disease. So there are standing temperature scanning technologies that would allow them to check in and for you to be alerted. Not cheap, $1,500 to $2,000, $3,000 in some cases, but better than having a case and having to close down for the day. Again, back to the reason that you might want to have an EIDL loan is that you could purchase something like this to help keep from being hurt as a business. Clean, clean, clean. I think we've had our full portion of being clean at this point. Cleanliness is absolutely key, and anybody that comes in your restaurant has got to be able to eat off any surface. And make sure your restaurant has street appeal. So when people drive by, because traffic's sped up a little bit, make sure that it catches the eye, that people know that you're there, so that it plants that seed that they perhaps might order from you or try your restaurant at some point. So facilities, make sure they're clean and they have great street appeal, and think about your guest experience inside because you want them to feel very, very safe. Last area is near and dear to my heart, and that is the systems area. So reservation systems, most benefit by having reservations rather than just drop in. People don't drop into restaurants a lot anymore. They want to know that their seat is ready to go. So they're wanting to make reservations online. So, or even call in some cases, but most of the time they want to make their reservations online. So make sure you have a great reservation system that you own the data. Don't give the data away. So there are some popular reservation systems that they want to own the data, and if you ever leave them, you leave that data behind, and you want to be able to mine that data and own it. So make sure that you work with a reservation system that you own the data. Second area is financial. So you want to make sure that you've got great financial systems, because you have to have great information coming to you every day, every week, and every period. Communications, really about how do you get your message out? How do you communicate with your people, whether that be through platforms such as Microsoft Teams or Zoom or another platform like that, as well as a written platform with your guests as well. So this allows you also to do some pretty nifty stuff around if you're going to make some food and you're going to do a kit or something like that, you can actually make a video, and that would help you talk to the guest on the other side and create experience for them. They're working with you and creating or finishing off that kit that you've sold to them. So great opportunity. Look into communication systems. They're key to the future. And then your overall tech stack, that's your computers and all of your IT areas. Those have got to be scrubbed up, sharpened up, and renewed as you engineer your business.